All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to BowlTV. For those of you who watched the women's semifinal and final here from the 2017 QubicaAMF Bowling World Cup, perhaps you got a special treat. You didn't have to listen to us for the final match. We had some technical difficulties, but working on them now, I think. We've got some help from back home and tweaking through some settings and such. But now you're watching the men's semifinals here from Bowl 300 in Hermosillo, Mexico. My name is Matt Canizaro, alongside Erin McCarthy of Team USA. She was just going to join us for the women's festivities, but since things didn't go so well on the technology side, by default, she still owes us a couple of matches. So we're gonna hang out here. It's a pretty good view from up here. Pretty crowded bowling center here at Bowl 300. So great to see that live TV here in Mexico. We're gonna run with this feed and audio as long as it will cooperate. But technology sometimes, unfortunately, it's one of those things. But right now you're watching the first semifinal here on the men's side now. Venezuela's Ildemaro Ruiz Jr., our top seed after 40 games this week. And he's taking on number 4 seed Oscar Rodriguez of Colombia. So we do appreciate you switching channels here and joining us back for the men's final. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it through this time. Congratulations to Crisalyn Tabora of the Philippines for hoisting the World Cup on the women's side. She was a talent all week long, just quietly doing her thing, and she got it done on the TV show here. 236-191 win over CT Rahman of Malaysia. A great tradition for the World Cup in the Philippines, with a 4-time winner on the men's side, Pang Nepomuceno. But a couple storylines squashed here in the festivities. So Malaysia still not to claim a title on the women's side, and there will be no sweep for either Malaysia or Colombia this year. So Crisalyn rising to the occasion here, and it was fun to almost watch as we were sorting through our technical difficulties, but looking forward to checking it out later and talking to her especially after we wrap up the men's final here. But let's focus our attention on the guys right now. We do appreciate everybody stopping in. And again, we've got Ruiz of Venezuela and Rodriguez of Colombia. Now for our top seed, Ruiz. We'll take a look at the scoreboard here in just a minute. Ruiz was out of the cut, Aaron. He was in 9th place. I know there's a lot happening at that time, but he was in 9th place with 1 game to go in the round of 24. He stepped up through the front 10 for 289. Actually jumped from out of the number into 5th place. And then he came in and just bowled incredible during match play. We saw the lead change hands quite a few times yesterday on the men's side. But when it was done, he went from essentially one game of going home to now being the #1 seed here and bowling in the semifinals. So what a performance there. And then getting a nice break there on the 10 pin on lane 20. Then a few other things had to happen along the way for everything to kind of work out. But I think the women's side was pretty defined all the way throughout who the 24 were going to be. And then the top 8, there was only 1 or 2 players with a chance of making some magic happen. But the men's side was pretty crazy. And Aaron, you had the benefit of obviously bowling on the women's side, and you got to watch the things unfold for the men. But from your perspective, as things were happening, again, we saw Mexico's Estrada, 7 count on his field ball to miss the top 8. We saw Rodriguez bowl well quietly all week as well, doing his thing and sticking around the top of the standings. And just from your perspective, things shaking up at the end, going to the top 8. Can you describe what it was like in the bowling center?
Yeah, I mean, even in the top 24, those last couple of games, the men kept bouncing around, so you could just tell in the atmosphere that everyone was quite close to making it, or right outside the number, right inside the number. And I think Venezuela kind of just kept that momentum going with his last game in the round of 24, and then obviously he soared in the match play for the rest of the 8 games. A lot of different changes in the men, though, kind of like what you said, it was more defined on the women's side, but the men just kept constantly changing. Mixed were exciting watching, though, especially for the fans.
It definitely was exciting watching that final game. We saw on our TV pair Ray Teese of England throwing some clutch strikes, and Ruiz doing his thing right to the right of us. So we were right next door for that. Unfortunate break for Estrada. An emotional week for him for sure. But the fans loved it. It was a great time. It was good for TV, and it all worked out well. And then, as you'll see in our next semifinal, coming down to the top 4, similar situation. Jacob Butcher was out of the number. He was 5th, and just trying to figure something out. His last 2 games, shoots 523 for his last 2 games, including 277 in the position round to jump into the 3rd position. It was pretty awesome. It was very exciting. These guys really put on a show all week, and again, you had a front row seat for that, and Jacob was on the low end, so we didn't get to see it. But can you describe that atmosphere as he was getting his job done?
I mean, you could just tell that he was making a run those last 2 games just based on the crowd that was behind him. Like, we didn't see the leaderboards really on the women's side, but you could just kind of tell. Wish I could have seen it, actually. It's kind of like go big or go home in his situation, and obviously he went big.
So matching 3/6 here. We saw a bunch of those throughout the week. Just very, very exciting. And for Oscar Rodriguez, bowling here with Hermosillo from Colombia, with the PWBA and what the ladies from Colombia have been able to accomplish. I don't want to say the men are overshadowed, but they've been quietly in the background a little bit, and some great players there. Carlos Tabon and Andres Gomez doing great things, but really it's been a lot of talk about the ladies, and Oscar was just here throwing strikes all week long. Hung on to a spot in the top 4. Bowled great at times, struggled just like everybody else over 40 games. There's going to be ups and downs, but here we are. So this is our first men's semifinal. If we run into an audio situation again, as we did on the women's, really appreciate everybody's patience. The video is the top quality. We got the help of local TV station Telemax here in Hermosillo, channel 6. So they're here. This is their video feed and our brilliant audio over the top of that. And there's trouble for Ruiz. And a lot of times this week, 41-foot oil pattern, Utopia oil. And I don't know about you, Aaron. Outside of the World Cup, I have not seen or experienced Utopia oil. And of course, that's going to always add into the trickiness of how it plays, how slick it is, how it breaks down. And on this, what is otherwise a high friction oil or lane surface, You know, you put out something unfamiliar and the characteristics of the house and develop the hang spot. But what is your thoughts on the oil, and have you seen it before?
I'm kind of with you. I've never seen it before. I heard that they were using it here. I don't know, obviously with the lane surface and it being such higher friction, I don't know how much the oil came into play or didn't come into play, but you know, outside factors that we're all unfamiliar with can obviously play into effect on scores and how we attack the lanes and the different surfaces and whatnot.
Well, the QubicaAMF Bowling World Cup dating back to 1965, of course, a showcase of what QubicaAMF has to offer, from lane panels to pins, machines, ball returns, furniture, scoring system, and more. And typically just the best of the best, upgraded and ready to go here. And that goes down to the oil and the lane machines as well. The Summit S was the lane machine of choice this week. I mentioned the Utopia Oil 41-foot pattern, and it all has culminated now after 40 games down to our final 4 on the men's side. Women's already decided. Crystal Lynn Tabora hoisting the World Cup. And now who will join her on the podium? Let's take a look at the scores. We can do that. Ruiz and Tabora. So tight match here. 9-pin match. See if Ruiz can get back on track after the split on the right lane. Ruiz averaged 219.65, turned in a 6-2 match play record. A high game of 290, but the most important game of the week, of course, that 289 that came at the end of the round of 24. High again, back-to-back 3-6-10s on lane 19. Aaron, that situation, you just did the same thing twice. Obviously, the two lanes clearly possibly playing differently. What do you do in this situation?
I mean, I think I'd have to move at this point. I know that he went light on the other lane. If you're going high, you know, there's a chance that you could big four or Ware Creek Church. But you have to make some type of move or adjustment other than just hoping that your ball will get through that spot. Of course, you play the risk of possibly coming in light and leaving something like a 2-8-10, but I think these types of players, they know what type of move they need to make.
And the spare for Ruiz. With as many strikes as we saw the ladies throw, we're again out-averaged the field. Hermosillo and Jenny Wegner both out-averaged almost everybody here. Ahmad Muaz, who we'll see coming up next, bowled very well from Malaysia, averaged 221. And a light mixer there for Rodriguez. So the ladies, Aaron, tend to play a little bit straighter, you know, more direct to the pocket. And do you think that trying to open up the lane, maybe open up the guys to things that we're seeing right now? You get it hooks early on you, 3-6-10. It hangs, 2-8-10. And the ladies being just a little bit more direct, didn't run into that as much.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see that, especially in the men's qualifying blocks. You could tell, you know, some men were lofting by the end of their 6-game blocks, and 6 games really it's not a long block. If you look at some of the other formats, they're actually playing a little bit farther right than what I recall them playing most of the week. I know it's only game 1, but still with the friction and their amount of rev rate, I guess I expected to see them a little bit farther left than what they are now.
So this pair freshly oiled following the women's championship match. So the men getting a few practice shots. So also, you know, that coming into play, not having the traffic of the 10 minutes of practice, especially if the oil is going to transition a little bit quicker, as you mentioned. But you know, good strategy. Straighter is greater in theory, a little bit safer. But definitely we saw a variety of styles this week and ways to attack the lane. If some guys were playing this far right, some, as you mentioned, by the end of the day, lofting the left gutter a little bit. Jacob Buttroff went to his B game this week, and we'll see him coming up to the next semifinal. Urethane and playing straighter is what he does. But there was a couple times where later in the block, he was moving right and just wheeling the lane, throwing some weaker resin equipment, and really just opening up the lane, but ran into the same problem when you go away from being more direct. You open yourself up to a little bit of trouble. It paid off early on, and other times not so much, but when he came down to crunch time, needed that big game, it was his A game that got him there.
I mean, I think that's why these players are so good. They don't have to rely on just one technique. They've got A, B, C, D games they can all use.
And the wobbly 10-pin for Ruiz stares it down. He is in trouble, Aaron. Rodriguez with the double. We saw our #1 seed on the women's side, Jenny Wegner, our defending champion. She was defeated by the 4 seed. Last year, it was the opposite. She was the 4 seed and took down tournament leader Bernice Lim. In this event, this format used to be a step ladder for many years, but to help with the format, the excitement, the TV setup, changing that a little bit, and here we are with our shootout. So being 1, 2, 3, or 4, really just getting there is the #1 goal. All right, so we'll set the stage for you. We'll take a look at the scoreboard. Ruiz, hot start with the double, but unable to keep that momentum going, and now Rodriguez in control. Gets you back to the action. This is semifinal #1. The 2 and 3 seeds going at it next, and the 2 winners will bowl each other. Look at that, caves them in. Could have been the 5-7-10, the 1-5-7-10. What a mess on the deck, but looks awesome on the scoreboard. 3 X's in a row for Rodriguez, and that one's that's got to be a spike in the heart rate for him right there, watching that ball hit the pins.
Absolutely.
And Ruiz unable to answer. Gets the 4 to go, but the 9 is standing, and he is clearly disappointed with everything that he's been able to battle through this week, and almost not making the top 8 to get to be here on live TV. And the handshake, he knows that his World Cup has come to an end. So Colombia on the men's side will bowl for the title. These gentlemen will close things out. We'll take a look at the scores in just a minute. Appreciate everybody jumping over here to our men's broadcast. Tell all your friends. I asked you earlier for thumbs up, and then everything went south, so I'm not going to do that again. It was good to that point, I promise. But maybe if we take a vote, better or worse without the audio, I'm going to say that you guys got a treat there on the women's final, not having to listen. But thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And tell all of your friends that we'll have the men's second semifinal coming up. Team USA's Jacob Butchoff will take on Ahmad Muaz of Malaysia. Watch our final shots here from Rodriguez. All right, we'll get a quick look at the scoreboard if we can before it disappears.
Oscar Rodriguez de Colombia. Congratulations to our first finalist, Oscar Rodriguez from Colombia. Y vamos a despedir también con un fuerte abrazo a nuestro representante de Venezuela, Ildemaro Ruiz. En nuestra siguiente semifinal tendremos de Malasia a Ahmad Muaz. Y representando a los Estados Unidos, al señor Jacob Butterf. In our next match, second semifinal, we will have from Malaysia, Ahmad Muaz, and from the United States, Jacob Butterf.
All right, players are gonna join us on our TV pair. Throw a couple practice shots, and then we will be ready for semifinal number 2 here on the men's side. 2017 QubicaAMF Bowling World Cup. Team USA's Jacob Butterf taking on Malaysia's Ahmad Muaz, the number 2 and 3 seeds. We'll see that here on BowlTV in just 1 minute. This is Matt Canizaro alongside Team USA member Aaron McCarthy, live at Bowl 300 in Hermosillo, Mexico. Semifinal number 2 coming up in just 1 minute. Thanks for being here.
In the mano. Vamos a interrumpir un momento antes de hacer esta semifinal, ya que el señor Ildemaro Ruiz tiene que ir al aeropuerto. Vamos a hacer la presentación de su trofeo como finalista en este momento. Ildemaro Ruiz, muchas felicidades. Ildemaro has to go to the airport, so we are presenting $3 hamburger from QubicaAMF. Okay, now we are ready to start our second semifinal. From Malaysia, Ahmad Muaz, and from the United States, Jacob Butterf. Jacob is going to bowl on the left lane, and Ahmad on the right lane. Good luck to everyone.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our second semifinal quickly underway here at Bowl 300. Jacob Butterf of the United States looking to reclaim the World Cup title won here in 2008 by Derek Oaf. Trying to stand in his way is Ahmad Muaz of Malaysia. Looking for Malaysia's second World Cup. First one came in 2012. That is the only one for Malaysia. They've never won on the women's side. Had a chance today. Came up a little bit short. But here we go. Top contender all week long. Amaz had a fantastic day on day 4 of qualifying. Shot 1487, averaging nearly 248. And just flew up the standings from 11th place to the lead. Was around that #1 spot the rest of the way. And now looking at the standings on the men's side, qualifying second overall, averaging 221. Highest on the men's side, the difference of just 5 pins between being #1 and #2. But he won 2 fewer matches than Ruiz. So Ruiz already on his way to the airport, actually, after losing the first semifinal to Oscar Rodriguez. So we'll see if those 5 pins in those 2 matches are going to work out in Moaz's favor with this format, or can Jacob Butchev do what he did yesterday and in the final game of match play, the position round, stepped up shooting 277. 277, picked up 30 bonus pins and jumped from out of the cut. He was 35 pins out and jumped into 3rd place for today's broadcast. So did all he could all week long, grinded, and 2 big games to finish. 523. That's all you can ask for is the opportunity. And he is hoping to take advantage of that. I'll watch Moaz step up here for his second frame. Spare to start. And Aaron, you've had the opportunity to spend the week with Jacob and Coach Rod Ross. And I'm sure there was some discussion about today, last night at dinner, you know, the relief of making the cut. Any strategic talks, anything you could share with us that might have transpired?
You know, at the beginning of the week, we talked about what our strategies were during qualifying, but I noticed, you know, as the week went on, we tried to just enjoy ourselves outside of the bowling center and relax a bit. Obviously talk game plan when we come in today. The first day, Jacob and I didn't bowl all that great. We kind of struggled with ball reaction. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Jacob threw the ball well. Unfortunately, I missed part of his morning block, but obviously his game plan worked out. I know that he did have to throw some reactive, which is not typically normal for him. He normally throws some urethane, but he actually just ended up moving a little bit farther right and using some more surface, creating a little bit more angle for himself, and it clearly paid off.
All right, so here he is, urethane in hand, 3 for 3 in our first look at Mr. Butchev as a Team USA member. Keep in mind, new to the program. First time out of the country. Granted, it was only 348 miles from home. You see Moaz unable to double there with the 9-pin in the 3rd frame. But Jacob just essentially crossing the border from the Phoenix area and getting down here to Hermosillo for his debut. And World Championships coming up right around the corner. So this is kind of the middle of the road, coming off of a great week at the U.S. Open. Led the field by 600 pins. Ended up finishing second to Rhino Page. So the roller coaster, he took that about as well as possible, you know, confidence-wise and motivation-wise. Took all the positives from it, brought that into the World Cup, and now the possibility of hoisting that trophy and taking that confidence into the World Championships. I can't imagine what he's feeling and thinking, and hopefully we'll get a chance to chat with him either way. But what a first go-round as a member of Team USA.
I'm pretty sure he's had the best year of his life thus far. You know, he's won several regional titles and then the US Open show, Team USA. I'm sure he'll carry the momentum on with him.
All right, let's take a look. Scoreboard now. Butchev 4 for 4. It's easy to keep score there. And Moaz with the pair of single pins. What a great shot. Terrible break there for the right-hander on lane 19. And that came up very early in the week. We saw that even during practice. Just the dead flush, 8 pins and 9 pins. And we saw quite a few on the broadcast. And there, you cannot throw it any better than that in any situation.
One of the most frustrating things. You can't really control that at all.
Jacob trying to stay perfect. That one, you never think it's going to make it back. It gets pretty left, and like, uh-oh, and then comes roaring back.
It's a handful on it, that's for sure.
So a lot of discussion throughout the week of Jacob's unique style. He is double jointed and able to do some crazy things in his approach. Uses urethane balls primarily, much more controllable, smoother, predictable, and definitely does get a handful. As you said, he uses a conventional drilling. Described himself as ball reaction to ball roll of a two-hander, but he uses his thumb, but very similar in the way that the ball rolls and the pin action. And now displaying that here live with the front five, and Moaz in some deep, deep trouble with the 5-count split on lane 20. So a very well bowled game and a great week, and nothing that Moaz can do. Give it a run, but no dice. Jacob looking in control and very comfortable here, and just needs to stay aggressive. I think that's the biggest thing. We saw him get ahead in a couple of games, a couple of matches, and kind of let up late in the game, but cannot do that in this situation.
Looks like he's not planning to either.
I just want to point out, shout out to my friend Mr. Derek Oaf. Won this event here in 2008. Different format for the finals that year. It was best of 3. And he ended up shooting a record score of 778 in the title match against Martin Larsson of Sweden. So the bar set very high for the United States bowlers, and Jacob looking to increase Team USA's TV average here in Mexico. He's got the front 6. Moaz throwing great shots. Not a whole lot he can do, and his opponent is perfect. Jacob does not waste any time on the approach either. We try to catch him in some video action throughout the week, and before you know it, he is on his way. What a break there. Goes high, and the 6 into the 9 it looked like, and the crowd loved it. Moaz answers. With the double, Butcher front 7. 1-300 game all week long. Jenny Wegner of Sweden. Game 2 of 40, plus our TV setup here. Jacob made a run earlier in the week, had the front 9 before leaving the 3-6-7. But now 8 for 8. You guys know what strikes look like, but here it is on the scoreboard. I'm still trying to guess the who bowls when it's time to bowl thing, but very, very confusing here.
Seems to change based on what the competitors want to do.
So Jacob throwing 1 shot, sitting down. Here's Moaz now. Working on a double. 4-pin. If you're just tuning in, making the jump over here to the men's semifinals, you're watching semifinal number 2. Earlier we saw Oscar Rodriguez of Colombia defeat top seed Ildemar Ruiz Jr. of Venezuela. So Rodriguez at this point is now waiting for his opportunity to bowl Jacob Butchoff for the World Cup title. So Aaron, if you're waiting on the practice pair and you see your opponent, or soon to be opponent, with the front 8 or 9, what are you thinking? I mean, on one hand you could think, uh-oh, or you could think that please shoot 300, and then maybe the excitement and the momentum will work negatively.
I mean, I think it's kind of a combination of both. Obviously, if he shoots 300, you might be thinking that he's so lined up that he might not miss again, but at the same time, the excitement and the hype could get to him the next game. Obviously, I'm a little biased since I'm his teammate, but I hope he continues the momentum, but you just never know in these types of formats. They happen so quickly.
All right, well, there's a look at the scoreboard. Jacob Butchoff, USA, front 9 here on our TV pair. Semifinal number 2, 2017 QubicaAMF Bowling World Cup. And just what a story for this young man. Jacob, 23 years old, essentially just showed up one day at the Open Championships, nearly won all events in Reno, Nevada. Goes ahead and wins the New Mexico Open in Albuquerque, big event there. And for him, he described that as kind of the moment for him when he realized that maybe he could be pretty good at this. PBA came shortly thereafter. He's got 13 regional titles. A record 9 came in 1 year, and even coming back now off of a fractured finger, able to win 2 regionals right before the World Cup, as well as lead the US Open, nearly win his first major. Also has 2 PBA national titles, and just the great things just keep on happening for him. It's unbelievable, and here we are. Made a big run yesterday to get to TV show 277 in his final game, the position round, and now clearly taking full advantage of this opportunity. Jacob Butchoff, Team USA, front 9 at Bowl 300, 410. And that one looked a little bit slow, drifted high. Crowd loves him anyway. Leaves the 6-7. It doesn't matter, this match is over. But maybe in that situation, Aaron, you know you have the match. Maybe that's the best case scenario. You know, that helps you think a little bit as you get ready for, you know, your title match.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, obviously the goal is to win, so.
We'll let Moaz finish up here. We'll take a look at the scoreboard. And he can finish with 186. Jacob finishing with 266. Second shot, 4-pin. This young man from Malaysia, very gracious, friendly guy. There's a language barrier, but always smiling this week at the bowling center, regardless of how he was bowling. Really getting a soft spot for these players from Malaysia. We're starting to see them more and more, especially on the PWBA Tour. Now here at the World Cup, we'll see him at the World Championships. But what a nice young man. Ahmad Mawaz, 176. Jacob Butchup, 266, had the front nine. Had the front nine before ball drifted high, leaving the 6-7. So now we'll have our final match coming up here in just one moment. Jacob Butchup and Oscar Rodriguez of Colombia. This is Matt Canizaro alongside Team USA's Erin McCarthy, making her stand by me this whole semifinal round, and some great insight from somebody who now has been the teammate, of course, of Jacob Butchup all week long. Get to hear the clubhouse talk a little bit, and of course insight about the event.
I'm from the USA, Jacob Butchup. Vamos a empezar nuestra final. Oscar Rodríguez de Colombia nos acompaña ya en el par de pistas. Él tiene 3 disparos por pista permitido de calentamiento en el par de la final.
All right, so we'll be ready with our championship match coming up in just a moment. They're throwing some prizes to the fans, and we'll get ready for Rodriguez to come up, throw a couple shots to get loose, and he and Butchup will bowl for the World Cup title. Can the USA defend here at Bowl 300 in Hermosillo, Mexico? We'll find out in just one moment. Title match seconds away. Thanks. We'll be right back.
USA lane 19. Okay, estamos listos para presenciar esta gran final de la Copa Mundial QubicaAMF entre Oscar Rodríguez y Jason Woodruff de los Estados Unidos. Un aplauso para ellos, por favor. We're ready to start the finals.
And we are back here on BowlTV, folks. It is getting exciting here at Bowl 300, Hermosillo, Mexico, 2017 QubicaAMF Bowling World Cup about to come to a close here. A great match coming up between USA's Jacob Butchev and Oscar Rodriguez of Colombia. This is the time. Tell your friends. Share this on your social media, Facebook, Twitter. Get the word out. USA. If you love the USA, tell everybody. Tune in, Jacob Butchev. If you love Colombia, now's the time. Get in the chat room. Cheer for your favorite player who will take home the World Cup here in 2017. Who will join Crystal Lynn Tabora of the Philippines on that podium tonight at the victory banquet? Will it be Butchev or Oscar Rodriguez? So thumbs up if you like what you're seeing, and share the broadcast so others can enjoy it as well. Shout out to our associates back home, Emil Williams Jr., Aaron Smith, keeping things running on USBC social media while the finals are underway. On the way to the championship match, Oscar Rodriguez defeated our top seed, Ildemaro Ruiz Jr. And Butchev got things exciting here through the front nine against Malaysia's Ahmad Muaz, 266. His final score, so perhaps the 300 comes now to win the World Cup here. Let's see, here's Butchev's first shot. Rodriguez already 9 spare. And Jacob picking up right where he kind of left off with the strike there on lane 20. That's where the string came to an end, but clearly no issue there on the opening shot. Just want to be clear here for the United States. Last time we were here in this building, Bowl 300 in Hermosillo, Derek Oaf won the World Cup on the men's side. Now Jacob trying to defend that title, take the cup back home to the U.S. Last year's winner, Wang Hongbo in China. So Jacob not the actual defending champion here, but the defending champion in Hermosillo. So let's see if he can do that and then get this World Cup home. 348 miles.
It's a long flight.
And should that happen, no doubt, probably the best hour of his year. Here he is now on lane 19, looking for a double to start this match to take the early lead. 7, lazy 7, couldn't get the messenger. Rodriguez starting spare strike. Some oohs and ahs from the crowd, but 7-pin no problem for the left-hander. And we saw Jacob again going with his A game, the urethane, playing the lanes a little bit straighter. When that didn't work, he had a backup plan. That was throw some weaker resin equipment and really open up the lane. Of course, you can see he really revs it up quite a bit, but able to battle the transition here and find his way to the TV show. And for Rodriguez, he was just steady Eddie all week long, throwing great shots like that. Never really moved in or out of the top 10. He was right there in the middle of the pack the whole way. Not fearful of missing the top 24, and then snuck in as the number 4 seed for the finals. We'll take a look at the scores in just one moment. Butchev gets the 8-pin to go. Tomahawks it off the wall. So keeping this thing close early. Take a look up top while we have a moment. Here's Rodriguez. Spare double. And Butcher. Strike, spare, strike. Great look and camera work, courtesy of Telemax, Channel 6 here in Hermosillo. And the Paralyzer 5. Rodriguez with 3 in a row now. Great crowd, Aaron. Great crowd here, the local bowling community. We had some showcases going on earlier of the new QubicaAMF scoring and some of the fun games you can play on their scoring system. And a lot of people coming in just for the show. A lot of those folks stand by. And Butcher wowed the crowd in the semifinal with the front 9, and now trying to hang on here against Oscar Rodriguez. Technically, if with Mexico out of this event, Jacob being the next closest player, he's kind of the hometown favorite right now, but we'll see if the crowd is on his side as this game progresses. Here's Rodriguez on lane 19, working on 3 in a row. High hit leaves the 9 pin. The pin's rolling all across the deck. Could have gotten there, but they'll have a spare to shoot now. And we saw on the men's side a lot of different ways to get to the pocket. Erin mentioned that in some of her interviews this week, that it was not that challenging to get there. It's designed, you can play left, you can play right, you can get to the hole. It was just figuring out how to carry. That was the biggest challenge. And then some of the players taking the opportunity at the end of each day to tweak their equipment, do some things. Erin, you know, how frustrating is it when you're in the pocket and you just can't get all 10 to go down? You know, how many moves were you making, you know, in the middle of games trying to get comfortable?
I mean, it was very frustrating, especially for myself, and I'm sure there were some others. But when you're hitting the pocket and you're that close, it makes it even harder to try and make moves on the lanes, because you obviously don't want to give away pins and leave a split or miss the pocket. It's really just about maybe tweaking your release just a tiny bit and whether or not it pays off.
All right, well, things paying off for USA's Jacob Butcher here. Working on 3 in a row. Now Rodriguez trying to get back on track after that 9 pin. We know this is going to be a great match. High scoring, both players bowled very well all week. 2 completely different styles here matching up in our championship match. Can't ask for more. So Rodriguez probably asking for 1 more pin. So that shot was pretty far right compared to what we've seen here on the left lane. And a ring 10. I mean, a great shot, but that's bowling.
Multiple ways to the pocket like we just talked about too.
Spare, no problem. Now, advantage Butcher. Colombia having some success at the World Cup as well. Clara Guerrero winning on the women's side back in 2014 and 15, back-to-back winner. Butcher. So both players hitting the pocket hard. Pins being a little bit stubborn here, not rewarding the best shots. And the spare for Jacob. Take a look at the scoreboard. Jacob leading by 1 pin now at the halfway point of our title match, 2017 QubicaAMF Bowling World Cup. Folks, we're halfway there and it's getting exciting. This one going to be a nail biter. Tell your friends. Share the link. Let's get these numbers up. We don't want anybody to miss the excitement here at Bowl 300. In trouble. A messy, messy washout for Rodriguez on lane 19. Gonna lose some count there as well. If you're Jacob Butcher right now, no doubt thinking how to capitalize on that miscue and extend a 1-pin lead. Rodriguez will give it a run, gets 3. Big shot here for Jacob. Give it an open door, and he walks right in. So it was a 1-pin lead after 5. Now wide open, Rodriguez running out of room here. Ooh, and the crowd oohs and ahs. The 7-10 standing just for a moment. Now only the 10-pin for Rodriguez. But Spares not going to get the job done here. There's the 10-pin. And Butcher, big double, big moment here for the 23-year-old left-hander. And one more for the lefty from the USA. Rodriguez trying to hang in. Goes light, the 2 won't go. Rodriguez cleans it up, knows time is running short. Barring disaster here. Jacob working on a double, 9th frame. High flush, 8-pin goes late again. Tomahawk across the deck. This one is going to be emotional for Mr. Butcher, no doubt. A little bit of redemption, Aaron, you think, coming off of the the loss at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that this is his first event competing for Team USA since his broken finger kind of prevented that earlier this summer.
And Rodriguez, first shot in the 10th frame. I'll have a victory lap for Butchev coming up here in just a moment. What a great week for Oscar Rodriguez and, of course, his teammate Rocio Restrepo from Colombia. Both players coming up a little bit short, but I think we'll see Oscar again very soon, possibly very, very soon at the World Championships. But what a week he's had. And congratulations, of course, to all of our competitors just for being here. But then to advance to the TV finals, can't ask for anything more. Colombia with one previous World Cup. That came in 1974 for the United States. With a victory here would be the record 19th for the USA. As Rodriguez finishes with 201. Jacob Butchev will be hoisting the World Cup here in just a few moments. There it is, there's the emotion. And the embrace with Team USA coach Rod Ross. What a day for the young left-hander. It doesn't matter. Have a World Cup champion, Jacob Butchev of the United States.
Felicidades a nuestro campeón mundial de los Estados Unidos, Jacob Butchev.
Take a look at the final score before it goes away. 246 for Jacob. And it's gone. So, quick opportunity there. And now the celebration will begin. Aaron McCarthy will let you go down and celebrate with your teammate. We appreciate you being here today for all of the action. We'll hopefully see you very soon. And anytime you want to come in the broadcast booth, you are very welcome. So thank you very much. Aaron McCarthy, Team USA, folks. Thank you. All right, celebration for Jacob Butchev happening lane side.
We're going to start our presentation with high game.
We'll stick around for the trophy presentation. And we'll get some photos after.
Presenting is Stephanie Darby, Marketing Director, QubicaAMF. Congratulations. Now we have our semi-finalists. From Malaysia, Ahmad Muaz, presenting Fernando Gutierrez, owner of this beautiful Bowl 300. Semifinalista, un extraordinario torneo de Colombia, Oscar Rodríguez, presenta la familia Gallegos Larios. Runner-up from Colombia, Oscar Rodríguez, presenting Gallegos Larios family. Ahora el campeón mundial de los Estados Unidos, Jacob Buttorf. Presenta el director general y anfitrión de este magnífico torneo, señor ingeniero Daniel Iván Gutiérrez López. Presenting is our host for Bowl 300, Daniel Gutiérrez López. And the chairman of the board, Mr. Pat Cinello, presenting the perpetual trophy. Congratulations to our world championship, to our world champion. Thank you, everyone. See you next year in our 54th Bowling World Cup, QubicaAMF. Muchas gracias a todos por su presencia y los esperamos el año siguiente.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for our coverage of the 2017 QubicaAMF Bowling World Cup. What a week we've had here in Hermosillo, Mexico. World Cup champion Jacob Buttorf of the United States. On the women's side, Crisalyn Tabora of the Philippines. Congratulations to both winners. We're going to go down and do what we do. But we appreciate everybody joining us here all week long. Thanks to all of our guests this week, Rocio Restrepo, Ryan Reed, Aaron McCarthy, Jacob Buttorf, and the great fans and hosts here at Bowl 300, the staff, amazing, QubicaAMF. Thank you for the opportunity. We're going to go down and do cool things now. We'll see you guys next time. We appreciate all the support. This is Matt Canizaro, and that's the news for now. We'll see you on the lanes.
Coach from Israel, if you can come forward. Coach from Israel, please come forward.